Wow. The Dow just dropped more than 400 points. It's most likely going to drop even more from here as, of course, the price of oil essentially collapsed. You could now buy a barrel of crude oil for less than a bottle of sparkling water. Again, the times that we're in right now are unprecedented, to say the least. And to talk about that, plus a lot more, we have Tim Picciott, the Liberty advisor. But
well, let's back it up, because we had just said show prep, and we were talking about the price of oil, and you're like, yeah, it's $4 or $5. I go, no, I just checked, it's $10.50, and you're like, no, it's $4. I'm like, no, dude, I'm the financial guy. It's $10, and I went to go check right now on screen, and I'm like, holy crap, it's $4.78, down 73% for the day. 92% on the year. And this is just, it's like such a crazy standard deviation type event that you never see, that I was like, Luke, there's just no way that that's actually going on. And so this is in real time breaking it down of all this craziness. Sorry about that.
Yeah, this has huge, severe ramifications. And as Alan B. Lange said, he was the Wall Street analyst who predicted the 2008 crash. He's saying the next 45 days may be the most critical period in U.S. financial history. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, we could talk about oil specifically with, the United States producing a lot of it, becoming energy independent. We could talk about Saudi Arabia and Russia mass producing this. And on top of everything else happening, the larger economic calamities, this had to happen now. It makes you really wonder. This is like a perfect storm almost coming together with all the different circumstances that really highlight a very severe picture moving forward, which me and you have been warning about ever since the beginning of this show. Because again, we're facing some
I had a podcast back when like only 12 people listened to my podcast in May of 2018, where it was called The Perfect Storm is Brewing. And I mean, it was about some other things that then led to where we're at now. But, there are people that knew that this was coming. Even I remember even quoting Jamie Dimon in that one. We like to call him Jamie Demon. I know that's what Jeff Berwick refers to him as, and I think that's a great nickname, where even Jamie Demon was talking about the things that I was worried about, but he's in there lobbying to create this crisis. And so then when the crisis gets created, they get all the free money to then be able to then consolidate all their competitors. And it's all this crony capitalism that, not crony, but crony capitalism that's going on. But yeah, I would agree that this is, going back to the article here, that the next 45 days may just become the most critical period in U.S. financial history. And, because, I mean, and it already is nuts, because we have seen the complete takeover of the economy by the Federal Reserve, but, nothing just a little money printing can't solve. And, paycheck protection programs, ran out of money for the small businesses. And then we've got places like Wells Fargo, sorry, we're, prioritizing just people who have, gigantic loans, and sorry, mom and pop, we ran out of money for you. Just more of the same crap that always goes on and on and on over and over again, Luke.
I mean, this is crazy. Trillions printed, unemployment record numbers, the economy shutting down, oil collapsing. I mean, what other writing on the wall do you need to say, whoa? And again, that's why I've been making a lot of kind of calls on my main channel, saying people, hey, start getting, some emergency food supplies all the way back in late January. Start getting some, rice and beans. Start getting some gold and silver. Check that out if you want, not financial advice. I was like, hey, a couple days ago, even over a week ago, I'm like, maybe you should get some seeds. Now you can't buy seeds anywhere. A lot of, the supply chain for food is already breaking down, which is just astonishing to see.
Yeah, because and you didn't even know this, but we do have an article right now where it shows upheaval in supply and demand for goods throws transportation networks into disarray, and also have an article where, and I didn't even send this to you, where it shows farmers could be winners as coffee prices spike and countries hoard during the pandemic. And then also, now we're seeing, direct cash payments into farmers. You're seeing also gold premiums just soaring through the roof. And so all the things that you were warning about and we were warning about and trying to get people to do ahead of time, luckily we were personally able to act ahead of time. And a lot of, we have gotten, it's awesome when we get people who send us messages saying thank you for helping us and our families, and even little old me getting messages like that. And so it's been grateful, but we're not here to toot our own horns. We're trying to help people out. In the last video we just did, talking about the digital dollar and where all this stuff is going, there are gigantic, serious ramifications for everything that we're talking about. And it's not just about us. It's not just about trying to grow the channel. It's about trying to warn people for what's ahead, because this has just gigantic ramifications.
Yeah. I mean, just a couple, weeks ago, I'm like, hey, grow your own garden. I still strongly recommend that. But I was like, hey, buy some survival seeds. I bought a survival seed, organic, non-GMO vault, literally. Like about 2 weeks ago. Now you can't get it anywhere. You can't get chickens anywhere as well. So they're backed up for months and months and months. So again, unprecedented situation. Best to always be prepared for the worst. That's been my major kind of tagline here. Some people criticized it, but again, look at the situation that we're in. It's not a normal one, to say the least. Prepare. Talk about self-reliance. Talk about being prepared and responsible for yourself, because we need that kind of talk more than ever in your local community, with your neighborhood, with the people that are in your family right now. But again, there's a big debate sparked in the country whether we should reopen and not reopen. There's a poll right now showing that 6 in 10 Americans are concerned that this kind of reopening of the economy is moving too fast. There's other people in the streets protesting to lift a lot of the restrictions, to reopen immediately. Not getting into that debate, but will it be too late to even reopen with some of the calamities that a lot of people are talking about? People are talking about the novel economy and recovering from all of this fallout, which is severe. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, is saying, well, everything will just bounce back to normal in months, and again, that's not very likely. It's important.
Better than Bernanke said, where it's like a snowstorm. Sorry.
Yeah. It's also important in this time to look at Italy, because they're really the canaries in the coal mine. The way that Italy will recover, a Western nation, will really be the kind of situation that we should look out for, because they were first hit. They were first devastated. They're now recovering. Their kind of recovery from this economic devastation will be something we want to keep a very close eye on, especially with China's actions, because many people are saying that China now will come into Italy and buy up a lot of Italian brands and companies and manufacturing plants from them, because Italy and China already had a very good agreement between each other, where Chinese slaves were literally sent to Italy to work on, quote, Italian-made products. This is one reason why many people think that this sickness spread as far as it did in Italy.
And then let's not forget that hug a Chinese citizen day that they were having in Italy too.
Yeah. The mayor of Florence promoted a fight against bigotry and racism, which was more important than the pandemic, by saying, go hug your local Chinaman that just came back from China. Literally promoted by Chinese state media, television. The Chinese government that pays for that television promoted that idea to the general public. And there are some idiots promoting that here in the United States. So seeing the mayor of Florence promote that again just shows you you can't have any faith in government. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to be reliant on yourself. You have to be independent of anyone and everything else. This is why I'm on a freaking farm right now. Okay. I saw a lot of this coming. I tried to warn as many people as I can. And as I've been saying from the beginning, look at the economy, oil collapsing. Holy cow. This is crazy.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely crazy, unprecedented. I mean, to see oil go down like 70% in one day, I mean, that just doesn't happen. Are they going to start paying us to go taking oil now to store it in our cars? I mean, is that? I mean, I don't want to give, actually, that is an idea I would like to give them, because that would actually maybe benefit us. But it's so funny how just the other day, we had all these stories about how Trump was trying to, don't worry, we're going to raise the price of oil, which, why is that a good thing? And so he wanted to, so just like government can't even raise the price of freaking oil when they try doing it. That they, even we had stories, today is 420, so happy 420. So we had stories before out of Canada where Canada couldn't even sell weed, right? And the Canadian government managed to lose money selling weed. And I don't have that up here. It's just something I remembered from before. It's just to highlight government ineptness and just everything they do, everything they touch just goes to crap. And speaking of going to crap, we have Eric Peters. Fed isn't delaying the inevitable reckoning. It's making it worse. And I absolutely agree. So the article goes on to say the Fed unleashed its latest program, its $2.3 trillion program, that expanded liquidity to small business and municipalities alike, or at least that's how Jay Powell marketed it. In the Fed's balance sheet, we saw it absolutely has been exploding. I know John Snice and I had made some bets on where we thought that was going to be. Looks so far right now that it looks like I am so far going to be the sitting pretty in that type of bet. And then where is it? There was one other article that I think I wanted to find. Oh, here it is. So we've got on screen right now, a glaring new conflict of interest undermines public trust in the Federal Reserve. And of course, we were talking about Blackrock and Larry Fink and their new sweetheart deal that they do have with the Treasury. But the U.S. Central Bank has hired private equity giant Blackrock, which manages some $7 trillion in assets, to run purchases of corporate bonds and commercial mortgages that are part of its response to the pandemic-led recession. And also, guess who one of the guys who basically invented this category of mortgage-backed securities was? Well, if you guessed Larry Fink of Blackrock, you would be correct winner on that one. And so, so basically, these big banks have gotten even bigger, and then Blackrock's assets under management were $1.3 trillion. And a lot of their assets that they have are these crappy junk bonds, or they call them high yield bonds. They're actually junk bonds, but it's these junk bonds that they own, and then they get to then dump their own junk bonds off their balance sheet, give it to the Federal Reserve at over 100 cents on the dollar in some cases, and meanwhile we get screwed. So BlackRock should be taking a massive haircut. Their funds should be getting annihilated. They should be getting put out of business, but instead they get paid a ton of money and they get to collect even bigger asset under management fees, and it really just pisses me off seeing how this the richest people that's getting even richer, and this is not capitalism. This is complete crap. And I'm sorry that I'm getting worked up over this, but just to know how this actually works, to know the underlying mechanisms of this, and know that this is way above people's heads. And I got my $1,200, so I don't care about what tyranny comes down my throat. Just really gets me worked up on this. So maybe I do need to take part in some 420 or something for today, because right now all of this is really working me up, Luke. Seeing BlackRock's complete consolidation of the economy and just gigantic screw job that they're implementing over here, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it's socialism for the super rich. Their losses, of course, are not privatized. Their profits are privatized. Whatever money they get, yeah, it's like a rigged casino game where they just can't lose. You're at a casino, the rules are the rules. Some douche flute walks in there with his little top hat and his mafioso gangster suit, which they essentially are. That's what they are. And he's like, well, I'm just not going to lose today. Everyone else is going to lose. I'm just going to make sure that all my games are rigged. Meanwhile, your game of life, no, you're just going to be screwed. And that's essentially what's happening here with, again, these hedge funds, these organizations. I mean, Black Cube is one of them. Citadel is another one. And there's just a revolving door between the people who work in government for the people who work for these private entities.
Is Black Cube one of them? Is that really one? Are you talking about Blackrock, or is Black Cube
Blackrock? Blackrock.
Because I'm like, it doesn't. I'm like, oh man, if there's a Black Cube with which I think I actually was reading, there is a Black Cube type fund out there, but I wouldn't. Maybe you guys leave us in the comments if you guys can find any of that out there too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, correction. Blackrock. Again, all of them have these like weird Illuminati sounding names, and I'm studying a lot about that kind of occult stuff right now, so I got a little mixed up there. But especially with Citadel, I mean, there's a reason Ben Bernanke works at Citadel, and that's another major company that's going to be benefiting off of these kind of crazy times that we're dealing with, where the Federal Reserve's like, hey, buddy. You used to be with us. What do you want? What do you need? Oh, unlimited money and cash? Yeah, sure. We'll just print some up right there for you. Here you go, buddy. Just take it. Yeah, you're our good friend.
You blew your wad too early, Luke, because I was coming at you with some more. But actually, guess what? Black Cube is an investment firm, because I do remember seeing this. And so let me share the screen with you right now, Luke, because if you actually go and see how they marketed this, let me reopen the screen over here. So, you got the Black Cube just opening up right over there, right on cue. And so now I'm looking at this in real time right now. I haven't done a deep dive in this, but I do remember reading about this. But Black Cube offers fast and accurate intelligence and analyst service for hedge funds, private equity firms, and large investment houses. So when you were saying that, I was right. I was talking about this company because I was doing research into this company. It's a former Israeli intelligence officer that founded this company, and they work, of course, in a lot of the major hubs, and they also have a very cozy relationship with the Federal Reserve. Yeah, and so I'll give a shout out to Sam Tripoli because he always talks about Black Cube of Saturn, and that's how, and then I remember I sent this article to Sam Tripoli, or not this article, but I sent him an article on Black Cube a few months ago, and so when you said Black Cube, I wasn't trying to correct you. I didn't know if you were talking about Blackrock that we were just talking about, or this other Black Cube, which I have not done a lot.
They're like they're also like a private intelligence agency that worked with Harvey Weinstein, and they're the group that was hired to intimidate and to attack and to try to get journalists not to release stories, not to come forward, not to make Harvey Weinstein look bad. So again,
it might be another Black Cube because that's like all, that's like the in vogue thing to do over there, but we'll have to go check that out. But anyways, yeah, it's funny like the rabbit holes we get down that we weren't planning on talking about. But Black Cube is a thing. If you guys, we'll have to do a show on Black Cube of Saturn sometime. But yeah, so I know we've gotten off the rails of what we were initially trying to talk about, but it is 420, so maybe if people are already indulging, then maybe they'll find this, to be a somewhat funny financial show. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to look at all these different aspects of it because they're so interconnected, they're so interlaced. So sometimes people get mixed up. Sometimes people make mistakes. It's important to own up to it. We're man enough to own up that yes, I made a mistake here, and that's what makes us different than a lot of other people is having that honest, real conversation, which a lot of people are missing. Long and short of it, you're getting screwed. Companies with Illuminati sounding names are just raking in the dollars. Meanwhile, everyone else is left to suffer, and the suffering is just beginning. It's only getting started, and it's going to get a lot worse, especially with what is happening on the market, especially what is happening with energy, with oil, and what's going to be happening very soon with all of this coming to forefront right in front of us that will implicate a lot of different individuals. And this is why it's important more than ever to look at the details and see what's happening. That's what we try to do here. Tim, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I was just showing up on screen. Exactly what you were right. Harvey Weinstein's, connections to the Black Cube intelligence firm over here. So we see intelligence firm Black Cube apologizes for Harvey Weinstein work and how they were an Israeli intelligence company. I'm not sure if it's the same Black Cube. You guys will have to let us know down there in the comments. But Luke, you were right in the money with that one. And so it's sort of funny how all this stuff ends up working out. That there is a Black Cube that does have something to do with investments. It might not be the same one as the intelligence one, but anyways, crazy rabbit holes that we find ourselves in. So,
a lot more research we're going to be doing. Stay tuned for more here on Change the News.